Hi everybody, it's Talia from The Climbing Tree. Today I have a video for you as part of Plastic Free July, talking about when you go to the box store, what is better, using jars or using bags? When you do go to the box store, of course you don't have to bring your own things, you can just use the bags that are provided. Often these are paper bags, so that is a good option, but a lot of box stores would prefer that you brought your own containers to put things into. Because it just saves on the cost, and also, you know, if you can actually just reusing something rather than using a paper bag, this is a much better option. So I know that the bulk stores that I mostly go to, they actually offer discounts and incentives for people to bring their own containers as opposed to using the paper bags that they provide. So that is definitely a good option if you can do it. So let's look at jars first and talk about what are the pros if you bring your own jars. One of the great things about bringing your own jars is that if you get any sort of liquid, like we just got honey today, but sometimes we get like washing up liquid. Lots of bulk stores have all sorts of things, tahini, maple syrup, I don't know, soy sauce even, all sorts of stuff like this. And if you bring your own jar like this, then you can easily put liquid things into it and take them home, and it's not a problem at all. When you go to the bulk store, just take your jar to the front. It is different in different places, and I'll do a more comprehensive video on this at some other stage, but you always want to make sure that you get your jar weighed before you start putting things into it, otherwise you'll have to pay for the jar as well, which is silly. So that's one of the advantages of bringing your own containers. The other advantage is that, so when we went to the bulk store this morning and I bought this quinoa, now I can just put that on the shelf and it's done. Putting things away is way easier when you actually bring the jars that you want to store them into. And the other advantage is that you can get exactly the right amount. So I have like these big containers that I put like our oats and stuff like this into, and you know, I've just gone and used one of these bags to put oats in today, but if I hadn't brought this, I could just fill it exactly to the top and then I wouldn't have any left over and things like this.
And we put the mangoes in my bag.
Good girl. So these are what I would consider the main advantages to bringing actual jars into the box store to fill up. Some of the disadvantages is that if you're doing like a bigger shop, which because we are a family of 5, we have quite a lot of stuff that we're buying each week, and because I make most of the things that we eat from scratch, I'm buying a lot of these like staple ingredients. And so if I'm having, and I do this sometimes, carry, you know, like maybe 3 of these really big things, and then maybe I've got 6 smaller containers as well. That's actually like quite heavy to carry with me and then to carry home again, particularly once things are all filled up. And this is like a decent amount of honey, it's like quite heavy now. It again is even heavier to fill up, plus you have a lot of glass jars all rattling together. And I always have a very small child, at least one, with me when I go to the bulk store, so that is for me one of the biggest disadvantages, is that it's really heavy and clunky, and there is always that risk that your glass jars might break because you're carrying them around places. So let's talk about bringing your own cloth bags and what some of the pros and cons of those are. So one of the pros of bringing cloth bags is that they are very lightweight. If I forgot to get this teared, it's not the end of the world. So that's a really good thing, they're really lightweight. Of course, the other good thing about them being lightweight is that you can just have them with you all the time. So I can just have a bunch of these spare that I keep in my car, in my handbag, something like this, so that if I do need to just pop into the bulk store to get something, maybe on my way home or when I'm doing other errands, and I wasn't going specifically to get it, then you know I've got something with me that's super handy. Obviously these are handy for all sorts of other things as well, not just for shopping. So that's one of the things I like about it. They're very inexpensive to make. Of course these are super inexpensive as well, because I'm just using, this was peanut butter that I bought at the supermarket, and you know I just cleaned it out and took off the label, and now I have a glass jar. So certainly they're equally inexpensive, but that's definitely a pro of each of them, is that they are inexpensive. Also very easy to make. If you just find that you do need a few more, you can just use scraps of fabric that you have at home. If you go to an op shop and you buy a sheet, that would work, or just a sheet that you have at home, anything like this. You could even convert like old t-shirts and stuff like this, anything that you want, that you were happy with the quality and the cleanliness and all of that kind of stuff, you could easily convert into this. But also again, if you want to just buy new fabric, and really all this is new fabric, it just happened to be stuff that I had at home, then again you can get that very inexpensively. So they're easy to make if you want to make them yourself. Another advantage is that they're easy to stack into the bag that you're taking with you, so you don't have to stack them in any particular way. You can just pile them all up with all your different things, and it's not super heavy. So that's another great advantage of the cloth bags. Also you can get them quite big, and you can get, this was like pasta that we bought, and you can get a lot of stuff in here, which might be a disadvantage if you want to put it into a jar later and your jar isn't big enough. But I would sometimes prefer to buy a whole heap extra of it, put some in there, and I don't really have a problem, you know, tying these up with a rubber band or something like this and just keeping them in the pantry till I need to refill my jar. So that's another good thing about that. Some of the disadvantages of using the cloth bags is that while you've gone and done your shopping and then you have it all in these beautiful little cloth bags and you bring it home, you do have to spend the time to put it all into the jars or wherever you want to store it, and that to me is a huge pain, because you know it's the same with like doing my washing, putting it in the washing machine, done. Taking it out, putting it on the washing line, done. Taking it off the washing line, done. Folding it, putting it away, this takes forever. And it's the same I find with things like this. I mean, I have somewhere like here, I'll just put the little bag in the pantry area so I don't have to put it away into a container, because I'm super lazy like that. So that is just that there is an extra step involved when you have the bags. Ultimately what I like to do is have a bit of a mix, because there will be liquid things I use and I always want to bring jars for that. And then I do want to be able to keep these handy, so I will be using the bags to keep in my car, to keep handy. And also I find that, you know, there will often be things that I buy and I buy too many things. Today I was super diligent and I thought, oh, I could get some of those nuts as well, but I didn't have enough bags for them. I'd used up all my bags, and so I thought, yeah, it's okay, we'll go without those nuts this week and we'll just buy them next week, or we can go one day during the week if we're close by. So yeah, this is what I consider to be the pros and cons of using your own jars and using your own bags when you go to the bulk store. I'm super interested to know what other people prefer, and if there are pros and cons that I have not mentioned in this video, then please share them, because I would love to hear them. Thanks for watching, guys.